Okay, so right, so it's the off season after winning the cup. We had a bunch of guys to resign. Before the playoffs ended, I extended Klingberg for 1 year to I think something like $10.9 million. That was never really with the intention of keeping him because with a bunch of my players getting raises, I couldn't really afford to keep a nearly $11 million player on my team, especially when he's getting older. I just didn't want to not sign him and let him walk. So I signed him, and then right when the right when trading resumed after the playoffs ended, I started shopping Klingberg. I traded him to Calgary for something like two firsts and a third. First of all, actually, I want to say that we won the cup, and then in that draft we had two firsts, which is kind of nice. Um, yeah, so I traded Klingberg to Calgary, which you might go, Quasi, you idiot. Calgary's in your division. But my argument would be now Calgary has an $11 million player on their roster, and they let Gaudreau walk to free agency. So this might actually, in terms of if we assume that taking on Klingberg's cap resulted in them not being able to sign Gaudreau, then I think they spent assets to make their team worse, arguably. Um, anyways, so yeah, we traded Klingberg, and I signed in free agency Brandon Montour to 2 years, and I think an average annual value of 4.5, or I think it was, but yeah, the cap hit is 4.2, 4.3 ish. Um, so he was the first pair defenseman on the team that we beat in the Stanley Cup Finals. He's much cheaper than Klingberg. He's not as good as Klingberg is, but he's also a couple years younger. And to be honest, I think it's time for some of the younger players to step up. I think it's time for Merkley. Look at all these 20s. It's time for Merkley to be an elite defenseman. Carson Lambos, Leighton Moore. It's time for these guys to show that they can do it without superstar John Klingberg being there with them. And we got Montour as well, so it's not like our defense core is much worse than than it was last year, and it's also much cheaper. And by trading Klingberg, I can keep the entire forward core together. I really like the way all four of these lines were rolling in the playoffs, and I'm kind of thinking about at least starting the season with the exact same forward core. I think I might have overpaid Blaze. I gave him nearly $2 million because that's what I wanted, but I really wanted to keep this forward core exactly together just to see what would happen. See if they could replicate what they did in the playoffs. I did the same thing with Lysell that I did last year. I qualified him, and then I let him sort of sit there for a couple months after July 1st until his ask slowly went down from 4 mil to less than 1.5. He only agreed to take 1.5 for 1 year, but I don't know. I did the same thing with him last year. Maybe we can just keep doing this until he gets sick of me and goes to unrestricted free agency. He's 25. Is he going to UFA next year? No, he's still an RFA. Okay, so I think we're good to go as far as that goes, and I'll start the season soon. I made some other minor moves like to clear like roster space because you can only have a certain number of contracts on your roster. I traded a couple of guys that I drafted around the first year. I think Mark Thurston is his name. He's 25 now. His attributes look kind of eh. I traded him for some random picks, and Dallin Mellon, who was a healthy scratch throughout the. It wasn't a healthy scratch. He got hurt, and then I replaced him with Blaze, and then he just didn't get to play the rest of the playoffs. I traded him as well for a couple picks. I thought I got good value on both of those trades, and they just. I mean, either they would just sort of sit there um, in the NHL and chill in the press box and not really play, or I would have to waive them to send them down. So that's the situation where we are right now. This is our lineup. Merkley is hurt right now, but Merkley would slot in at that second right defense slot. It's very similar to the roster that won the Cup last year, except we've replaced Klingberg with Montour. And once we have prorated cap, I might try to trade some of my picks and excess prospects to upgrade at some position, but I haven't exactly decided specifically what I'd do there. But yeah, that's what we have going into year 9. So hopefully we can try to defend our Stanley Cup title. So it's playoff time again. Here's how the season went. Michkov was hurt for a long time, like 3 or 4 months. And I ended up replacing him. Instead of mixing all the other lines around, I would just call up a guy from the AHL and stick them on the first line. So I had this guy Christopoulos and this other guy Fleming, who both did sort of okay in that spot. I just didn't want to mess up the chemistry of all the other lines. And we had some other injuries. Bratt was hurt, Merkley was hurt, and so on. At the end of the season, yeah, Hischier had a good year, much better than his season last year. Meyer was good, Graham was all right, Weisblatt was fine. And on defense, everybody did well. At one point, someone got hurt, so I brought up this guy, Casey Whitaker, who I drafted, I think, in the first round a few years ago. It was 2023, so it was 6 years ago, and he's 24 now. But he's good. He played well. I ended up, I think, waiving Chase Prisky just because I didn't have room for him anymore because I had 6 defensemen that were all playing great. I promoted Merkley to the first pair. I think we can maybe try to run with, like, his attributes are great. He could be faster, but his technical stats are great. His mental stats are very good. I think we could run with Merkley on the first pair with Edrinson for a bunch of years to come. Montour was good as well. Moore and Lambos were solid. We had a good defense core. The goalies, Nedeljkovic had a great season, 921. Litvinov was kind of He's not very consistent. He has good years and he has bad years. And yeah, the offense was fine. And yeah, we made the playoffs with the same point total as last season, 98 points. We finished as the 7th seed. I think we could have done better if Michkov wasn't out for so long, but that's okay. We're playing Edmonton in the first round. Oh, before I forget, Rod Brindamore, our head coach, left last offseason. So I had to bring in a new guy, and the fans are going to love me because I brought back Logan Couture as our head coach. He's got great coaching attributes, and I think he's good. But yeah, it's fan service, but it's also a good hire, I think. We still have, well, basically, I have Evgeny Nabokov on my coaching staff still for fan service reasons. And then, yeah. So anyways, we've got the Oilers. I feel like there was something else that I wanted to say, but oh yeah. So because Michkov was on the IR, I had all this prorated cap space at the deadline. So I was looking for bad teams with star players on expiring contracts or something, and I tried just throwing a bunch of picks and prospects at them to try to get them to give me their player, but it didn't work. So I didn't end up doing anything at the deadline. But this is a very similar roster to the one that won the Cup last year. So I think I'm fairly confident with it going into the playoffs, even if we are the 7th seed. The Oilers, we beat them before a few years ago in the first round. Their roster now looks very similar to what I remember it being, except they have Cole Caulfield now for some reason. And I don't think they had Sandin last time. I don't remember that being the case. They have this guy who looks good. They still have Barry and Nurse. I don't remember if they had Sanheim last time. But okay, yeah, that's them. We know what our roster looks like. It's the same thing we were icing before, except Whitaker is in place of Prisky, and yeah, Merkley is on the first pair, and Montour is on the second pair. And otherwise, the lines are the same as the ones that won us the Cup last year. Okay, so because we're not trying to win a Cup for the first time, I think I'm going to just sim through the playoff games, except for elimination games we will actually view. But just to save some time, we're not going to watch every game. Okay, we lost the first game. Okay, so we got goals from Eklund and Graham. Nugent Hopkins had a hat trick. Okay, and they outshot us like mad. Okay, so that's game 1. They did finish ahead of us in the standings by quite a bit, and yeah, what we pulled off last year. I mean, our team was good, but I think it was a bit of an anomaly. winning the cup as the 7 seed, only losing, what was it, 6 games along the way or something like that? No, not 6. It was 5. We only lost 5 games along the way to winning the cup. But okay, Edmonton wins game 1. And on Sunday, April the 15th, game 2 will be played. And we lost. Okay, we may have to start watching these games sooner than expected. Nugent Hopkins gets another goal. Okay. The Oilers win 2-1, and they take a 2-0 series lead. The standings were really weird this year. Nashville and Columbus were tied for the most points in the league. Really bizarre. But Columbus is down 1-0 in their first round series, and they just tied it. Okay. And the next day is going to be our game. Back on home ice. Let's get a win. Don't get swept. Ugh. Oilers win in overtime. They come back from 2-0 down. All right, we're going to be watching game 4, and hopefully at least we don't get swept. Let's check out how our players are doing. Yes, we have Nedeljkovic in net. He's playing fantastic. How is everyone else doing so far? Do I want to take out Blaze? I could take out Blaze. Who would be his replacement? I'd have to mix the lines up. I could put in Christopoulos, but no, I'll leave it the way it is, and we'll go into game 4 with the same roster. Okay. The SAP Center in San Jose, we're trying to avoid getting swept as the defending Stanley Cup champions. No, we want key-only highlights. This isn't the Stanley Cup Finals. This is a first-round series where we probably are getting swept. I mean, the goal of this save was to win the cup. Not sure how much longer this save will last. We accomplished our goal. Back-to-back cups would have been nice, but it looks like it's not happening. Darnell Nurse gets the first goal for the Oilers. Power play? Nothing. Edmonton's going to get another one. Grenier from a bad angle makes it 2-0 Oilers. Don't get swept. This is like actually embarrassing. This is very similar to the roster that Mitch cut from a bad angle. That guy can score from anywhere. It's very similar to the roster that won the cup. And you're about to get swept in the first round. Get a goal. All right, the defending Stanley Cup champions are 20 minutes away from elimination. Let's get something. Anything. Anybody. Anybody. Come on. 2 minutes remain. Nedeljkovic leaves for the extra attacker, and the extra attacker is John Graham. Oilers clear the line. Sharks dump it in, steal, and we drew a penalty. Thomas goes off for cross-checking. I don't know why the goalie went back in the net. That seems like a good moment to get a 6-on-4, but okay. That shot missed. McDavid clears it around the boards. Edvinsson can't hold the line. And the goalie's out again. And the puck is sent around down the ice. The thing about having a power play when... Oh, did you just ice it? No. Icing waved off. The thing about having about being on the penalty kill when you're up by a goal late is you can shoot it from anywhere and try to hit the empty net, and you don't have to worry about icing. Graham gets a chance with 4 seconds left. And the Edmonton Oilers have swept the San Jose Sharks. Damn. I really believed that this roster could repeat it, but damn, we got murdered. 49 shots in that game to 20. They won it 53 seconds into overtime. We just got crushed. Okay. I may have to reevaluate this roster. Okay, so what's our cap situation next year? So we currently have what? I'm not going to. It's like 14.5 or so million dollars in space. Who do we have to sign? Okay. Blaze, I don't think is coming back. How did Brett do this season? Brett had an okay season. For $2.5 million, yeah, he wants just over 2.5 mil. I'm not sure whether I want to bring him back. Christopoulos, okay, I'm going to qualify him. He's 26, so he's not going to grow anymore. He's mini-maxed, basically. His physical stats aren't very good. He's got a good wrist shot. He's got a decent slap shot, and that's about it. So if he wants over $1 million, I'm not going to be too broken up with letting him walk, I think. Connor Geekie, I used him at center a bit during the season. He's 24. He's very good at taking face-offs, and good off-the-puck stats, but he's not all that special at anything else. Yeah, I'll give him this. That's fine. Lysell, yeah, I think we're gonna play this game with Lysell again, where we qualify him and then we just wait him out until his ass goes down. Leighton Moore, our board will allow a salary up to $2 million, and he's an unrestricted free agent. Okay, we'll set him to core and see. Okay, this is his suggested ask. I'm happy to give Leighton Moore that. Denny Power is our AHL goalie who I brought up when one of our goalies got hurt, and now I can't send him down without him passing through waivers. I'll qualify him. Okay. Cole Sillinger, I drafted him in the second round in the first draft. He's been kind of like a guy that's plugged up a role in the bottom six at center. I don't think that's been great for his development, but it kind of is what it is. He's 25 now. He's not going to grow much more. He's a restricted free agent. I may try to trade him. If that's his suggested offer, I think I'll give him that and then try to trade him. Yeah, and Whitaker was very good for us this season, and that is a very reasonable price, I think. Okay, so how much money are we going to have to spend? Because I feel like, I don't know. I like our defense. Maybe it needs to be, maybe if we want to be like a big cup contender, it needs to be better. I like our forward core, but I think probably it's the time to trade LeBanc. I was thinking about doing it last offseason, but like the thing is, our team was so good during the playoff run that I didn't want to fuck with the chemistry of the forward lines. But I think we can get a better player. LeBanc has been with us since the beginning, but I think we can get a better player than LeBanc for $6.15 million, and he's getting older as well. So if somebody wants to, and he's going to be on an expiring contract next year as well. So I think this offseason is going to be time to trade Kevin LeBanc. Yeah, Blaze, I think he had a good season, but I think he's going to go. I don't think he's worth $2 million, and the only reason why I gave him that much is to just keep the group together. Okay, I think I'm going to try to sign someone in free agency. That's going to be the plan. I think Brat, Blaze are likely to, or I could give him this for 1 year and then try to trade him. I always, like in this game, it seems like AIs are very receptive to acquiring players and trading assets for players, like even if the contract is not so great. So I tend to want to, instead of letting players walk, just sign them and trade them for something. But certain contracts, AIs are just like, no, I don't like that contract. They won't trade for anything. Okay, I won't risk it. I think Blaze I'll let walk because I think I need that cap space for something else. Um, and LeBanc, I think I will trade. So that's where we stand right now. Let me just look. Who makes the most on our team? Meyer is worth it. He sure is worth it. Eklund had a down year, but he plays on the third line, and his attributes are fantastic, so I think he's worth it. Nedeljkovic is worth it. Michkov is for sure worth it. I think all these guys are worth their pay. I think the person that stands out to me as overpaid is Kevin Labanc. So I think Kevin Labanc's time in San Jose is running out. So that's where we stand right now. We got swept out of the playoffs, but I'm thinking we'll come back stronger next year. And our defense core is still very, very young. Edvinsson is 26, so he's not going to get any better, but he's not going to regress anytime soon either. Merkley is 28. Again, his physical stats are less than what I'd like them to be, but his other attributes are fantastic. Lambos is 26. Yeah, all these guys, they're sort of past the point where they can grow more, but they're young still, and we can roll with them for another number of years. The exception is Montour, who's probably just going to have one more season with us, but he's good. And Whitaker probably still has room to grow a little bit. And we also have guys like Madden Steen, who 20 acceleration, 19 speed. That's a fast boy. We have Chase Prisky still if we want to use him, but his contract is expiring. So I'm not sure I'll bring him back unless out of curiosity. No, he wants to go to free agency. That makes sense. And we have Simon Tavel, who I picked in the first round a few years ago. Also, he's only 23, so he has room to grow still. We've got this guy who probably will stay as an AHLer. Yeah, he's going to stay as an AHLer. Yeah, those guys are all going to stay AHLers, but we've got a good young defense core, a good goalie tandem, although Nedeljkovic is getting older. I think we're coming close to the end of how far I'm going to take this save. I would definitely keep going if I hadn't won a cup by this point, because that is the end goal. But having won a cup, I think the save is going to be almost done. But this is my plan for the offseason. Blaze is going to go. LeBanc is going to be traded. Bratt will probably be signed and traded. Sillinger will probably be traded. So that's what we're doing.